Welcome to the Meet Crete podcast, where we sit down and talk with people who make Crete run every day. Hi, I'm Dave. I'm one of the creative producers inside the communications department at Crete Carrier. Today, we're going to talk to someone most drivers might know, but if you don't, you're going to want to by the end of this interview. He's a great guy, has a great first name. Today, we're going to meet David Christopher. How are you?
I'm outstanding.
Okay. Your name's David Christopher, but everybody calls you Bones.
Everybody
calls you Bones.
Everybody calls me Bones.
And people, when I first got to work here, they would say, well, maybe you should run that past Bones. Maybe you should email Bones. What is a Bones? Where did you get the name?
Well, I used to be a skinny guy a long time ago, but, as time goes, you get a little older, gain a little. But it came from back when I worked in the coal mines.
Worked in the coal mines. Where was this at?
In East Tennessee.
Man alive.
Horrible.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that kind of work. What would you do?
It was, I ran heavy equipment, ate a lot of dust. You just dug the coal out, loaded it on trucks, and sent it on down the road. And then I had a guy that drove a coal truck, came in, got a job, and he said, hey, some of you guys ought to go over here where I'm at. And so ultimately we wound up at Crete Carrier.
Wow.
And it was an amazing thing, just to have a job where you didn't have to crawl around or eat dirt. And it's treated like family.
Let's talk about coal mining for just a sec, because, and we'll get to the Crete Carrier thing, but I have never talked to an actual coal miner before, but I know a little something about those areas and those communities. That's that community's entire life. If it's a coal mining town, that town is about coal mining. Everybody
supports the coal mines in one way or the other. Where I lived, you either went to work for Department of Defense, or you went to work at a state prison, or you went to work in the coal mines, or something related, timber, something related to coal mines.
And so it was just on the job site, and you were talking to a guy, and he says, I drive for Crete?
This guy, we all grew up together, and he left, took a road job, driving on the road, and he came to Crete, and he took one of the coal miners with him, and the coal miner worked in the maintenance end of it, and he called me and said, hey, I got a really good job. You just won't believe it. It's a really good job. And at the time, I didn't know what a good job was, but I said, I'll give it a try. So,
well, how long have you been here?
39 years and 9 months, somewhere along through there.
So 40, you've been here 40 years. So is it a good job? I guess it is if you hung around for 4 decades.
I've just about learned what to do. So I think I'll keep it up. Maybe I'll figure out what I'm doing, but it's a pretty good job.
You just started out as a driver?
Actually, I started out in maintenance. Then I worked in maintenance for a while, and then at the time they needed somebody to pick up freight, move stuff around the yard, and so I kind of started in that field. And then I went into the terminal. The terminal was not a terminal like we have today. It was a safety, hiring terminal, maintenance facility.
Where is this?
And it was in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we probably had 600 trucks, and you knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody. And so with that start, it came to what it is now, where everybody still knows everybody.
Yeah.
So it's really good.
It's just amazing. For anybody to have 40 years under their belt to do anything is kind of amazing. But to be with a single company that long, it's almost astronomical anymore.
Well, I never thought about leaving. Everything always worked. No job's always smooth. There's a lot of things that change. A lot of things you have to adapt to. People come, people go. But ultimately, it's been a really good job. I raised my family, paid for my house. Life's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's amazing. And that kind of attitude, I mean, you can go a million miles on that kind of attitude, which is great.
I'm very fortunate. Everybody respects me well, and of course I respect them too. So the whole company works very well. I think overall, if this is the kind of work you're going to do, this is a place you ought to be. Can't imagine going somewhere else.
That's great. That's really great.
It is good.
So yeah, let's talk about respect a little bit, because, and I don't even remember what city we were in. Was it Indy? Maybe we're in Indianapolis. And you were doing a training session there, and we had a barbecue for everybody, and I couldn't believe the number of drivers that came up and slapped you on the back. Hey, Bones, what's happening? And talking with everybody. You introduced me to a couple people. Everybody knows you.
It was Indy. And, by the very nature of what I do, speaking to drivers every week, I do know everybody. And names I lose, but faces I don't. And so you see people, and everybody knows if you're sincere. Everybody knows if you're not.
Well, that's absolutely true. And I can say that we've worked together a couple of times. Your attitude towards just making things work out for the company is just amazing.
I try to satisfy myself. And if I satisfy myself, everybody else seems to be okay.
Tell me what you do now. What's your official title at Crete Carrier?
I'm a safety manager. I primarily work with drivers on defensive driving, different things that come along from day to day. But I do defensive driving. I'm in a different terminal just about every week. And I also work with a drug and alcohol training program so that we don't have to send drivers out. We're able to do that here in-house. Saves a lot of time, a lot of money, and it puts the driver back on the road a whole lot quicker.
Because you're helping these people, these drivers, our compatriots, because you're helping them learn a little bit more or take different strategies towards different things, have you thought about the fact that you're probably single-handedly responsible for holding on to a great number of drivers here at Crete?
I don't know. I do know that I have a lot of respect, and I know drivers will talk to me when they have problems, and I always stop and talk to anybody that wants to talk. When you drive a truck, sometimes it can be very trying because you're by yourself a lot, and sometimes you don't have nobody to help you with a problem. So if we work back and forth, it's about making what we do easier. It's hard enough, so it don't need to be made any harder.
Right. If you were going to tell a driver who kind of felt that situation, hasn't run into you yet, they are having some problems out on the road, what do?
Find where I'm at. It's easy to find where I'm at. Anybody knows where Bones is. Just walk up and say, hey, you got a minute to talk? And if I don't, we'll make a minute in a few moments. And we'll sit down, we'll talk. Have a cup of coffee, drink a bottle of water. What's going on? And most of the time, people can work through their problems. I work with the drive cam quite a bit, too, with drivers that have drive cam, help them understand how that program works. And that can be a hard problem if you don't understand it. But once you understand it, you go through the program that works very well.
And you brought up drive cams, so let's just talk about it real quick. It's not the NSA spying on you, is it?
No. It'd be great. Let's spy on the world, but it don't work that way.
Right.
So the drive cam works only, the driver controls the whole program. There's only 5 triggers: hard brake, speed, following distance, stability of the vehicle, or push the big blue button. So it's all in the driver's control. It's all in his hand.
It's weird because this is something that we wouldn't be talking about at all 15 years ago. But cameras are everywhere now. CCTV in Europe has been a big deal for a long, long time, but it's getting smaller and faster and easier to carry around, and now it's everywhere. And I understand people's apprehension, but at the same time, this is our uncommon. You're being watched when you're in the drive-thru.
Oh,
you
sure.
know, so
Sure.
I mean, you're always on camera.
But, the whole deal with it is, though, we all become complacent. Everything we do is so easy to figure out what's going on, and instead of using 3 hands to get in the vehicle or 3 points of contact, you just use 1 hand, jump up. All sorts of things that we do every day, and then we become complacent. And if we become complacent, that can affect how we drive. It can affect what we do with everything we do in our life as a driver on the road.
It must be hard, too, being an older guy. When the technology changes, that curve, getting you from the old school to the new school, there's always some kind of consideration. You have to take into consideration what the tech is going to do for you. But you have to take into consideration, too, they have 20, 30 years of experience without that, and that's what they know. So how do you bridge that gap?
Well, first off, I think that the technology is good technology. And then if you understand the purpose of it, it's to help you become better at what you do. then the drive cam works. And so the program is very solid. And I've saw results. And even when a driver that says, I don't think I need that, I don't want it, but I'll take it just because you asked me to, when the program's over and he graduates out of it, he says, you know what? There's a couple of times I'd like to have that thing with me right now, because the whole scope of it, it works. It works.
And not just drive cam, like some of the assisted driving things on the cabs and that kind of thing. All that technology is to help the driver and actually bring down the liability for him. I
remember with a lot of the technologies that came into trucks, and people would say, what is that? Why does it work? How's it work? Well, that can't work. I'm the guy holding the wheel. But now if you ask them, could we get rid of that? No, that helps me. So the things that help us in our work sometimes can be hard to adjust to.
Safety must be a difficult thing to deal with all the time. I know we talk about safety an awful lot, and safety, first and foremost, is our number one principle at Crete. We bang that drum really, really hard. What's the hardest part of your job and kind of imploring these people to be as safe as possible?
Sometimes it's hard to explain with patience how the program works, what it's set up for. But again, I don't view any of this as hard. I view it as it's what we do. And if we approach everything we do, this is what I do, then the whole problem seems to be smoother.
You said earlier, you talk to a lot of drivers. Everybody knows who you are. Yeah. Do you think there's a secret sauce for being a good truck driver, or is it just paying attention?
I think you have to be patient. You have to be very attentive to what you do. You have to be able to listen and take direction. I don't think there's no such thing as a dumb truck driver. Everything they do, we're very intelligent. And we work hard, we earn our pay, but we do it in a way, it's kind of crazy. You get up, you figure out where you're at when you wake up. Sometimes you don't even know where you're at, you're so tired. But you get up, you figure out where you're at, you go deliver your load. Park, get a shower, have dinner, get up, do a pre-trip, do the same thing again. It just never ends. And the cities are different, the towns are different, the places you stop are different, but the work's the same. And if you have that person that wants to do a good job, takes pride in their work, and says, I'll satisfy myself that I've done a good job. If they do that, that's the kind of guy we need.
You and I work together on a video for pre-trip inspection. They're going to start, I think they are showing it in orientation now, and kind of took the place of a dated piece of material. But you and I were talking about pre-trip inspection yesterday. I didn't even know you were going to be here, and you just popped up. Hey, Dave. And we just started talking, and pre-trip came up. Just for somebody who hasn't met you, how important is pre-trip, and why should you absolutely do it?
Well, a pre-trip inspection, anything can tear up. Anything can tear up. But a pre-trip inspection is what you're riding on every day. You're in that truck, you're pulling that trailer, you're going down the road with a load of freight, up to 80,000 pounds going down the road. And if you don't know that it's safe, if you don't know that it's in condition to operate, forget hurting you. Look what it can do to the public. And so we don't want to hurt ourselves. We don't want to hurt nobody. We want to do the right thing. And the right thing in our work is pre-trip everything we touch. And it don't take long. Our equipment's very good. Our equipment's very neat. So start one place, end in one place, and the job's done. It's done right.
And we proved on video that you did it, 4 or 5 times easily in the span of time that we were together, just to shoot it from different angles. But you got through your pre-trip pretty efficiently.
Same place every time. Start the same place, end the same place. Check your brakes, lights, tires. Listen for air leaks. Make sure everything's working. Check your fire extinguisher. You're good to go.
You're on the road every week. I'm sure that's kind of difficult for home. I know when I travel, my wife's like, "Oh, really? When are you coming back, Mr. Big Shot?" Don't you want to sit still for a little bit, or do you like what you do that much?
If I sit somewhere more than 3 days, I'll wiggle. I gotta go. And so my wife and I, we figured it out, I come home, we have a date, fix a meal, pack, say I'll see you in a few days, and start all over.
There you go.
It's a real nice life. The people that I work with, the support group behind me, make my job very easy. And the people in this company, I don't care what department I've ever looked in, everybody will help you. So it's not near as mysterious or as hard as it may seem.
Anything else you want to do in this company that you haven't done yet?
I just want to finish. I want to finish my job. And I have no date, no time to think about retiring. I don't know when that'll happen. But I started over the road trucking here, and I'll finish here. And I would say that to anybody that wants to work here. I don't care what you look at, we're consistent. And never worry about your pay. Never worry about something going wrong and we can't make payroll or problems. This company's solid. And I've had a lot of life trauma on the personal side, lose somebody in your family. And I really believe that this company, they'll help you through that. It's solid. The performance is good. It's a good place to work.
Well, you're solid too. And I'm glad to know you and get to work with you and to have you sit down. It was really great. I know that you're here for work capacity, but you took time out to do it. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity. I always like working with you. I'm just about at the point where I almost like you now.
Almost. Almost. Well, despite what he just said, thanks for listening and for watching the Meet Crete podcast. If you clicked a link to get here today, just a reminder, you can find all of our podcasts, weekly updates, and more on the Crete Carrier YouTube channel. We'll be back to find out more about the people we work with inside of Crete Carrier and Schaefer Trucking in the next episode of Meet Crete.